Stephan is wrong. And we're going to explain why today on the Patrick Lane Show, where we talk about personal finance, investing, and real estate. So go ahead and do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe so we can push out the information to as many people as possible. The YouTube algorithm loves it when you smash the like button, subscribe, and then comment down below and let me know what you think about this video, whether I'm right or Graham Stephan is right. Now, if you don't know who Graham Stephan is, he has a YouTube channel and he talks about real estate and investing and that sort of thing in the personal finance space on YouTube. Now, the issue is that he has made a lot of his wealth over the years investing in real estate. But a few days ago, for some reason, he put out a video entitled "Why You Should Not Buy a Home." And he went through a whole list of reasons why somebody should not look to purchase real estate and purchase a home, but should rather look to invest in other ways. And frankly, that's just dead wrong. The first thing that people should invest in is a home, and I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why that's the case. The first thing we're going to talk about, why you should buy real estate and not listen to Graham, why Graham Stephan is wrong. The first reason is that households that own real estate are 40 times wealthier than households who rent. Now, if you look at the study that shows there over the last so many years, it's basically stayed flat when it comes to net worth of individuals who rent at about $6,000. Meanwhile, people who own a home, their net worth has gone from just over $200,000 on average to over $250,000 on average. Now that's a big increase just by itself, but if you look at the difference between the two, $6,000 for renters, $250,000+ on average for people who own their home, just owning a home creates 40 times more wealth than being a renter. So just from the standpoint of whether or not your net worth is going to be impacted by buying a home, Graham Stephan is wrong, and you should definitely buy a home. Second, how do you get that home? Well, first of all, Graham talks a lot in his video about saving up the 20%, 25% to put down, which is great if you can do that. But here's the key. Don't let the 20 and 25% hold you back from buying that first home. And in fact, the FHA, which is a government-backed loan program set up by the United States government, will help you get into a house for as little as 3.5% down. Now, of course, you've got to qualify on your income and your credit history, but those guidelines are also more lenient than a more stringent bank. So if you go to a regular bank and you have 20% down, they are going to look at the more conventional qualifying. So your credit's going to have to be better, your income's going to have to be better, and your debt to income ratio is going to have to be better. If you decide to go the FHA route, you can certainly get to that 3.5% down payment quicker than you can the 20% down payment, but also your credit doesn't have to be as good, and your debt to income ratio doesn't have to be as good. So you can get into a home faster by going through the FHA. Now, it's going to cost you a little bit extra because they're going to charge you a premium for mortgage insurance. And basically what that means is, for as long as you have the loan and you don't meet that 20% equity threshold, then they're going to charge you a mortgage insurance premium in case you default on the loan. Then that insurance policy will help cover the cost of the loan that you didn't pay back. Now, let's look at some of the numbers when it comes to an FHA loan and how we get here. Just for the sake of illustration, we're going to use a calculator and we're going to put in a $100,000 home price. Now I know, depending on where you live in the country, that's going to be a lot lower than what you might be used to. But an average home, starter home, you can probably find a decent starter home in most of the country for $100,000. We're going to put in a rate of down payment of 3.5%, and we have to choose between 30 and 15. And you can see the interest rates jump depending on whether it's 30 or 15. Now we're going to choose a state to be in, and let's pick Florida just because it's a nice beachy state like California, but it also doesn't have an income tax. So that's a good option if you're on the East Coast. So we can see here's our mortgage insurance premium up front and the monthly mortgage insurance premium. So when we go through the calculations, you can see on a 30-year note at 2.8% interest rate, your principal and interest payment are going to be a little over $400. Your mortgage insurance premium is about $70 a month. You've got taxes, homeowners insurance at $60. Your total monthly payment is going to be around $614 a month estimated. So for a $100,000 house or townhouse, you're putting 3.5% down, or $3,500. And you're able to get that with all of the fees and taxes and insurance and everything included for about $614 per month. Let's do a quick comparison of renting and buying in that similar scenario. So here's a simple rent versus buy calculator that we can find online. And we're going to go up here and we're going to put in the $100,000 price for the home. We're going to put our down payment again at 3.5%, which is the FHA. We're going to leave the interest rate at about 2.85. The term at 30 years. We're going to factor in buying closing costs of about 2%. Property tax at 1.5%. Property tax increases, we're going to estimate 3% per year. Homeowners insurance, we're going to figure $1,200 a year. You'll note that that's a little bit higher than what it was on the other calculation. But just for the sake of getting through this calculator, we're going to leave it at the default amount. The home value, and this is important, we're going to estimate that the real estate appreciation is going to be 3% per year. And then selling costs, we're going to figure at 6%. Now, you're not going to incur those if you don't sell, obviously. Now, comparing that to rent, we're going to assume that the same house will rent for $1,200 per month, and you've got a 3% rental increase per year, renter's insurance, and you're going to pay a $1,200 security deposit, so that's a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent, and we're going to assume you have to pay first month and last month's rent, which is pretty typical, as an upfront cost. And then down here we've got marginal tax rates, the information. We've got a state tax rate of 0 because again we're using Florida as an example. And you can see here buying is cheaper if you stay for 0.9 years or longer. And one of the things Graham talked about was that he thought you shouldn't buy unless you were going to stay there for more than 5 years. But the fact of the matter is, in this scenario, even staying there 1 year makes it cheaper to buy. From an investment standpoint, if we're just looking at real estate as an investment, remember we're going to assume that it's a $100,000 purchase price for this starter home. And we're going to assume that the appreciation, or the amount that that home grows in value each year, is going to be 3%, which is pretty typical. I mean, some places it goes up faster, some places it goes negative when there's a home recession or there's a housing bubble that bursts. But by and large, across most of the United States, we're going to look at about a 3% appreciation rate for most real estate. So we've got a $100,000 home, we have 3% per year in appreciation. And over the life of that loan, over a 30-year period, if you own that home for 30 years, you're going to end up with an asset valued at $242,000 plus. So just by the appreciation itself, you end up with a $242,000 asset. Now, keep in mind, over that course of that 30 years, you've been paying down that loan the whole time. So at the end of that 30 years, you don't owe anything on the loan, and you have the asset free and clear that you can sell it, rent it, do a cash out refi, however you want to handle it then, but it's worth 2.5 times almost what you paid for it at $100,000. It's now $242,000. So if we just look at the gain on that, $142,000 that we've gained by purchasing that $100,000 asset. When you put the $3,500 down, the 3.5% down on that house, and it gets you a return on investment of $142,726 over a 30-year period, that will give you a 13.16% return on your investment per year over the life of 30 years. Now, I don't know where Graham is thinking, what he's thinking about, but that is a really good return on investment. So if you can come up with $3,500 to put down on a $100,000 house and qualify for an FHA loan and keep that home for 30 years, you're making a 13% per year return on your $3,500 investment, which is pretty darn good. So in the end, what are we thinking? We're thinking that while Graham provided some good information, I mean, he did really talk about, when he talked about in the beginning why you should not buy a home, he then went on and talked about essentially making sure you're ready to buy a home. So he talked about making sure that you understand that there's going to be a down payment requirement, making sure you understand that you're going to have to pay taxes and insurance on those things, and you're going to have to take care of maintenance costs and that type of thing, which all makes sense. And he also talked about having to deal with issues of a toilet breaking and a dryer going bad as soon as he closed on properties. And the fact of the matter is, you're going to have to deal with the frustration of that anyway, even if you rent. Now, a lot of landlords will come take care of a toilet, but the dryer is really going to be your responsibility in most cases anyway. So keep those things in mind. Last thing to remember is, it's not just me at the Patrick Lane Show who says that real estate is the best thing to invest in, okay? If you want to go out and build wealth, think about this. You could get that FHA loan for 3.5% down, $3,500 on a $100,000 home. FHA requires you to stay in that house for at least 1 year. So at the end of that year, you decide you want to move to another house. There's nothing that says you have to sell that house. Okay? You want to look at a new home, and you want to purchase a new place to live. So you've saved up some money, you've saved up 3.5%, you go get another FHA loan, and you buy another home, maybe a little bit nicer home, for that 3.5% down. The home the $100,000 home, you keep and you rent out so that asset keeps paying for itself over the years. And guess what? The return on investment there is going to be even higher because you're not paying the mortgage anymore. Your renters are paying the mortgage on that home. So it is just coming in, the rent's coming in. Remember the $1,200 per month that we estimated on that same home? Now you're receiving the $1,200 on that home, and you're paying the $600 plus that it's going to cost you to carry that home, and you're putting that other $600 in your pocket, or you're looking to invest it elsewhere. And in the same time, you've gone on because you've saved up another 3.5%. You've bought another home, maybe a little bigger, a little nicer, a little more expensive, and you're living in that new home. And then you can repeat that process over and over. And again, with real estate, you can immediately build value into it. If you buy something that's undervalued, similar to what a flipper would do, you would buy something that's a little undervalued, that needs updated or needs a little bit of handyman work to it. You get it for a good deal. You put some sweat equity, some investment money into it, and you drive the price and value of that up, and then you've automatically built that equity in that property. So if you repeat this cycle over and over with real estate, you're going to build wealth a lot faster than if you don't purchase that home, that first home, and you continue to rent. As we saw in that first chart, that wealth gap is going to expand and expand and expand. And frankly, it's only going to get farther apart now. It's at 40 times. The people who own a home are 40 times more wealthy than the people who rent right now. And I think it's only going to get worse because home prices are going to keep going up. And the more people who get into the market, the better it's going to be for all of us who own a home. It's not just us here saying that. It is the millionaires surveyed around the world have all said that the best way to build wealth is to buy real estate. So those are my thoughts on why Graham Stephan is wrong. And don't get me wrong, I like Graham. I watch his channel. I think he's got a lot of good information. But on this particular issue about buying a home, Graham is dead wrong. So let me know what you think. Is Graham right that you shouldn't buy a home? Or am I right that you should buy a home as soon as you want it? Comment down below and let us know. And do me a favor. Smash that like button if you got anything out of this. If you think it was entertaining or educational, be sure to click the subscribe button so that we can build our subscriber base. The YouTube algorithm loves that. And we'll catch you in the next video.